Are you waiting on the illusion of perfection before you go live with your life? See, a lot of people, they procrastinate. Well, I'm not good enough yet. You're not good enough yet. Are you waiting on the illusion of perfection before you go live with your life? Are you aware of the fact that you will fail your way to success? Are you aware of the fact that you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great? Are you willing to let something die in you today that you should be going live with tomorrow, waiting on the illusion of perfection? I was one. Let me go to the other one. I just love this. Okay. Here we are. Are you allowing the fear of tomorrow rob you of the joy of today? This is by Steve. Are you allowing the fear of tomorrow rob you of the joy of today? You know, a lot of people, they have a fear-driven life. And when you have a fear-driven life, that it's been said that most of the fears we have, 95% of them never happen. That the fears that most of us conjure up in our minds and waste a lot of energy over, gain weight over, digging early graves with our teeth, turning our hair gray or losing weight, never happen. And we allow those fears that we have of what might happen to rob us of the joys of today. No, today is all you have. Life has no duplicate. Enjoy what you have where you are right now. Do what you can where you are with what you have right now, and God will do what you can. He wants us to be joyful. And there's a difference between being joyful and being happy. Being happy, that's dependent upon circumstance. But joy, come on now. Joy passeth all human understanding. What do you mean by that? Because people wonder, how can you be joyful given what's happening to you or given what you've gone through? How can you be joyful given what life has done to you or given your situation? We visited people in the hospital, one in one bed, same condition, just as joyful. Another person, I don't know. The Lord is able. I'm just trying to make it, honey. One foot on the banana peeling and the other one in the graveyard. No, don't allow anything that you worry about rob you of your joy of today, especially if it involves somebody else. Wherever they find themselves, at some point in time, they made an appointment to be there. You control you. You live your life. Stop trying to play God. You can't control nobody. I don't care how much you love them. You can't control their choices and what direction they decide to take their lives in. Oh, that sounds hard. I know. You know what this is? The world's smallest violin playing the world's saddest song. Be joyful. So they were just throwing different quotes, and then they would take their tag and tag it and do their piece with it, or they'll take a part of their story and they'll do their take on their story. And then I'll ask, can I take a swing at that, please? And they said, sure. And when I finished, they say, you know what? You told my story better than I told my story. We have a wonderful community of people who love to change lives. If that's you, if you have a story, you want to learn how to tell it, get it out, make more money with it, increase your cash flow, be a voice of influence and develop a national and global reputation with your story like I have, I want you to go to hungrytospeak.com. Go there now. Go there to hungrytospeak.com and become a part of our community. And that's really, really, to me, the most important part, because when I started out, all I had was Mike Williams, my mentor. Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff, and he was coaching me. But when you in a community of people, and trust me on this, right now, more than ever, it's very important to be in a community of like-minded, positive people who lift your spirit, iron sharpening iron, people who bring value to you, people where you can develop strategic partnerships, people that you can work together, people that are motivated and driven and have a focus of what they want to do with their lives. This is a time, and this is a quote that deals with this. Preparation. Prepare yourself to be positioned so that your life will be in a good place when whatever happens comes your way. Question is, are you willing to be patient with the preparation? See, a lot of people want success right now. They want mastery right now. They want to be great right now. No, it ain't that kind of party. Mastery takes time. It takes time, and it takes coaching, and it takes practice, and it takes being around other people in a group that you feed off each other and give each other strength and hold each other accountable. And magic happens when you do that. Oh, trust me on this. We have some very good quotes. I got to share another with you. I got to get the names because I love these. I believe in giving people credit for what they say and write. And so I will have the names tomorrow. Or maybe, I think it's Thursday. Thursday we have our session. Here's another one. Don't let other people's failure create fear in you and going after something. I'll never forget when I decided that I was going to become a motivational speaker. How many people said, do you know how many members there are in the National Speakers Association? I said, yeah, around 3,000. Is that right? Do you think you're the first one that decided that you're going to be known nationally and internationally? Do you? You're not that naive, are you? Over 3,000? You have nothing going for you. And you will be the only fly in that glass of milk. There's no way you can compete with them. With PhDs and MBAs, people from around the world. Who are you? Les Brown from Overtown and Liberty City in Miami, Florida? Who are you? You're nobody. You don't have their money. You don't have their contact, their relationships, their corporate experience. I wouldn't waste my time if I was you. Well, thank God you're not me, because guess what? I'm going for it. I'm going for it. See, sometimes people allow other people's opinion, other people's experiences or fears to govern what they will attempt to do or not do. Just because somebody else failed at it doesn't mean that you're going to fail at it. And even if you do fail at it, change your approach. Don't change your decision. Did you just hear what I said? Oh, that'll preach up in here. Change your approach. Don't change your decision. Alexander Graham Bell was asked the question, how did you continue after failing 10,000 times? And he said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. He changed his approach, but he didn't change his decision of what he was working on. He's on fire today. He's on fire. Yes, Tyrone, I'm on fire. What do you think about that?
I think you doing real good. Keep on, Mr. Brown.
Okay. For those of you that don't know, Tyrone is a squirrel that comes up on the west side of my house, and he talks to me in the morning. He talks to me and walks with me, and he just tells me various things and teach me how to speak squirrely. Now, here's the other thing. When you got something to do I want to talk to you and give you another point of what to do in and out of the coronavirus. Yes, you need to have a strategy. Three kinds of people coming out of this: millionaires, billionaires, and witnesses. You listen to me, you will not be a witness. You're going to become a millionaire or billionaire. Which one do you want to be? A witness, like the majority of people who are tuning into entertainment? Write this down and put it someplace where you can watch it and look at it and read it and remind you. What you tune into, you turn into. I've made several million. Now I'm working on the billion, because a good man, not a sperm donor, a good man, oh, no, he didn't go there. No, he did not go there. I did. As my brother said, shoe fit, wear it. And if it's not your shoe and it fits, wear it anyhow. That you got to have something that you decide, this is how I'm going to make my mark. I was chosen. I was sent here with gifts and greatness in me. And I'm going to make a presence. I'm going to make a dent. Am I going to solve all the problems? No, I'm not trying to play God. No. But I can do something. And I'm going to do what I can, as George Washington Carver said, do what you can where you are with what you have and never be satisfied. Absolutely. Don't resign yourself just to be hypnotized by what's going on. Your future is going to be bright because you decided that you're going to write it, that you're going to create it, that the future will be kind to you because you are going to create your own future. That's the way to get up in the morning. Just because I'm 76, you think I'm gonna be sitting around watching Netflix? Absolutely not. Netflix is a great idea that kicked cable and all the other networks behind. That's an idea. Everything that exists at some point in time was an idea. I still got some ideas going on in my mind. I still know my name. What's your name? Leslie Calvin Brown. Okay. What is today? Now you're going too far. Hello. Good morning to you. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. You know homie could sing, huh? You didn't know homie could sing, did you? They didn't know, Tyrone, that homie could go there, but you can't handle it.
You got a point. Okay.
Silly boy, silly boy, silly boy. That's what my sister's saying right now, I'm sure, as she's watching me. Silly boy.
You can either live your dreams or live your fears. And I think the majority of people actually are not living their dreams, but are living their fears. So I want to ask you a question. What are your fears? What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Because we all have fears, don't we? We all have something that's blocking us, that's holding us back. And as we begin to look at life, what we realize is that the reason that most people are not living out their true potential, are not doing all of the things that they would really like to do, is because of fear. Some people call fear false evidence or expectations appearing real. I'm reminded of the story of a guy that was living in an area where he had some new neighbors, and these neighbors had a bulldog. And when he came home every day, this bulldog used to chase him about a half a block from his house. Every day, he would have to streak home. I mean, he would just run. This bulldog would be right on his heels. And so he just got tired of that because he would go home about a half a block away from home. He would look around for this bulldog and he wouldn't see him. And he would go walking casually along and this bulldog come out of nowhere, woo, 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 and start chasing him. He'd run home. So this one day he just got tired. And so when the bulldog was running after him, he started running. He saw a rock and he stopped to pick it up to throw at the bulldog. And when the bulldog got up on him, he started barking. He realized the bulldog didn't have any teeth in his mouth. Then he started chasing the bulldog. If you don't get all the way from it, because the most the bulldog could have done is gum, you know. And so, you know what? Most people go through life running scared. Running scared from things that have no teeth in them because they're false expectations appearing real. That, see, we're brilliant enough to scare ourselves to death. You realize that? And there are some people actually who get a kick out of scaring themselves to death. I remember the last frightening movie I saw. It was The Exorcist. I will never forget. I was so frightened when I came home. I'll never forget. I drove in the driveway and I had already called my former wife and said, listen, turn the lights on. I was coming in the driveway and I was getting out of the car and all of a sudden I couldn't get out. I started blowing my horn. I said, Madeline, they got me, they got me. She came to the kitchen window and said, take your seatbelt loose, fool. I said, oh, okay. I was frightened out of my wits. But there are a lot of people who they get off on that. They love it. I'm a person, my brother is a paratrooper. My twin brother, he's in the military, career man. I would love to jump out of an airplane to parachute. I'm scared though. I mean, I really admire my brother for that. I would really love to be macho man like that. What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream? That's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things. And how do we begin to handle that? Abraham Maslow said that the life is about growth. And he said, you can either go back to your comfort zone, and there you won't find any growth, or you must be willing to go forward and face your fears again and again and again. Because you're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. There are some things that you really should be afraid of. Now, you shouldn't allow it to immobilize you. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution. But it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you. So what do? One, acknowledge it. And knowing that it's okay. Don't condemn yourself for being afraid. It's perfectly fine to have some fears. You acknowledge your fears, you embrace those fears, and then you move on. You act on whatever it is that you fear. Because once you embrace it, see, what you resist will persist. What you resist will persist. So one of the most important things is to begin to embrace your fear.
One of the things about you, Les, is that your life is such an example of what's possible. I mean, everybody, I want you just picturing this about this beautiful man. I want you, he's born, his mother ends up giving him to adoption to Mamie, he and his brother. They live in these conditions. He's 10 years old. His mother has to go away for a while. He's got to support the family. He's had all these incidents he's had to observe up close. There are other ones with his mother when she's cleaning houses and this woman claps her hands because she's got to know when her mother's in her room because she's going to steal something, which his mother would never do. This man goes on to influence millions, I mean, literally millions of people's lives. And then this is what's great about all of us making our dreams come true. When you make your dreams come true, the dreams of other people and dreams you can't picture also come true, because then he influences this goofy dude, me, 20-something years old, working at an orphanage, and it inspires me to change my life. So it's just, your life is such an example. And what's interesting to me, Les, is it was mainly tied to mom, meaning you wanted to do something great for your mother all your life. And that was bigger, I think, than any obstacle that got in your way. I'd like you to share this with people because I think most people don't understand the power of having something big you're going after that means more to you than the pain you're going to have to go through in order to get it. I don't think enough people set huge, big goals that are from the heart. Don't you agree?
Yes, you said that. I was listening to you last night. You know, Dexter Yeager, as you know from Amway, he said if the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. And so when you say dream big, that's major. One, there's power in pursuit, because as Jim Rohn said, it's not the accomplishment of the goal that matters. It's what you become in pursuit of the dream in the process. Because when you have a big dream, it will introduce you to a part of yourself that you don't know right now, that you will never discover in your comfort zone. Because in order to achieve that dream, you've got to die to who you are now. I must die daily. You must die to who you are now to give birth to who you are to become. I believe that all of us have stories of greatness in us. And follow me as I say this, as this download. We all have stories of greatness within us. In the beginning was the Word. Thou shalt decree a thing, it shall be established unto you. When shall the kingdom of God come? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. When shall it come? The kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say, is neither lo there, lo here. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And that kingdom is voice activated. So when you speak, people who are in a dark place, you will bring them out into the light. When you speak, somebody's got a gun to their head. When you speak, they'll realize life is God's gift to me, and how I live my life is my gift to God. When you speak, someone who's depressed and feeling anxious will remember, be anxious for nothing. I'll keep thee in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. So that's the power that you bring, and all the products that you have on YouTube that how ironic. They said, coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. I've been so marinated listening to your stuff. And then you've been listening to me. Come on, look at God. What a mighty God we serve. Come on. You can't make this stuff up.
That's like my honor to think that you listening to my stuff. I got to tell you, you guys, you just get what I told you all, you just have this treasure. It's like, you never want to stop hearing from Les. He's just remarkable. And the way you pull things and download them from all these places is it's mind blowing. I wish I were that great. You
are the messenger and you are the message. That's made. You got people who are speaking out here. It's been hijacked with speaking to sell. We sell people on their greatness. We sell people on the things that they need to do now, the methods, the techniques, the strategy to create the next greatest version of themselves. And when we do that, we know that when we make that kind of impact, we know that we're in the place of what Leo Tolstoy, the Russian author, he said, what in the meaning and purpose of my life that will not be undone and destroyed when I'm gone? And the people that listen to your program and their mind and their vision has been expanded, you give them a vision of themselves beyond the adversities of what they're experiencing in this place where we are right now, and help them to begin to live their life from a place of optimism, that they're going to impact other people, and those people are going to impact other people. And this work that you, as much as you have chosen this, you were chosen for this, and this work will not be undone. You're going to impact generations yet unborn.
Thank you. My gosh, I'm getting chills all over. I'm always watching you, right? And so thank you for that. Like, sincerely, someone or something could not be more special to me than what you've just said. I want you to also watch something with Les, everybody. He speaks greatness into people. I really believe that it seems small, but he speaks greatness into people. He speaks to their better self. All of his messages always end with, there's greatness in you. And I just think that all of us should just be conscious of this. I'd be making a huge mistake. I have the greatest speaker I've ever seen on my show. Is there anything you would impart onto somebody who's listening that says, I'd like to be a better communicator? Are there a couple keys that the best ever would share with me about how I could become a better communicator if I'm listening or watching the show right now?
You know, the Serena Williams is considered a dominant tennis player on the planet, but she has a coach. Muhammad Ali said, "I'm the greatest," but he never won a championship without Angelo Dundee. Michael Jordan considered one of the great basketball players, but he never won a championship without Phil Jackson. I was with Maya Angelou. I had the honor of spending a day with her. And she said, it aggravates me when they say that I'm a gifted communicator. And I said, why? She said, show me a gifted heart surgeon. I work at this. She said, do you see these books around here? I said, yes, ma'am. When I was raped and I went into a catatonic state and didn't speak, my grandmother brought a lady here to help me and to tutor me. And she said, I want you to start there and start reading these books and give me a report. And she said, one day she came to this lady and she had written something she was very proud of. And she went, and this lady said, you can talk, read it to me. She said, you can talk. And her mother was standing there and didn't intervene. And her mother always defended her. And this woman who wrote, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, she said, you can talk now. And the reason she stopped talking, when she told on her uncle, the man, the neighbor who raped her, they beat him to death. And she felt personally responsible and went into a catatonic state. And on that day, she said, speak, you can speak. And she started reading on that day. And that lady helped her to get her voice back. She had swallowed her voice because of the trauma of feeling as a young kid, I caused someone to be killed because he raped me. And that was heavy for her. And so we all of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. We can learn. I didn't do what I'm doing now. For 14 years, I told Mike Williams, I said, Mike, I can't speak, man, like Zig Ziglar. He said, you can. I said, look, Tony Robbins and all those guys. He said, Brownie, you go hear those guys because it's in you. That's in you. And sometimes I feel that you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. And I was at an event, I think it was a Bob Proctor event, and a guy was speaking, man. And here I am there, and all of us had moments when we feel a speaker is just talking to us. You've had people who say, you were talking to me, and this was my day. And this guy was speaking, he stopped. He said, there's somebody here who should be up here holding this mic. I'm standing in your dream. And you've convinced yourself that you can't do it, that you don't have what it takes. And I'm here to say that it's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need in order to do this. Now, mind you, I'm here thinking I don't have a college education. And so then he went on speaking. He said, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna say it anymore. You're out there squirming in your seat right now. He said, and he was looking over the audience, and I'm saying to myself, is this guy looking for me? And then he said, the reason I'm standing up here and you are seated out there squirming in your seat, I represent the thoughts you have rejected for yourself.
Oh.
Man, that was like he punched me in the gut. I jumped up, I had a dime. I went to a payphone, I called Mike Williams, my mentor. I said, Mike, he said, Brownie, what's wrong? I said, listen to me, Mike. Brownie, calm down. No, I'm not rejecting myself anymore. Do you hear me, Mike?
I'm not rejecting myself anymore. My mother has breast cancer and she needs me. And all I got is my voice. I can't get a job. I don't have a college education. All I got is the ability to talk to people. I got to use my voice to help Mama. No job is going to pay me enough money to get the help that she needs. Most people don't know 95% of people who file bankruptcy do so because of medical expenses. And when he said that, I said, I gotta speak. There's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Shakespeare said, the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings. I was living a small life, and you can't fit a big dream or a big voice in a small mind.
So everybody can transform a kind of inconvenience in a huge advantage.
Without any question, and it takes work. Now, there's no question that there are certain situations and structures around the world that don't allow people to dream. You know, I'm doing some work in South Africa right now, in Johannesburg, and my first step is to help people to learn how to dream, because they were under apartheid, a form of enslavement that did not make dreaming possible. And there are other places around the world that are just like that right now. That's destroying people's dreams. And I think that's why we see such global upheaval in terms of many dictatorships, because people are becoming more enlightened. In 2007, Time magazine recognized the computer of the person of the year. And the reason it did, because it gives everyday people access to information that they never had before. And so now people, with that access of information, becoming more enlightened, and it's causing a great deal of disturbance with various types of governments around the world.
It's huge. My message in France, and I would like to spread that everywhere, it's you have a dream, it's possible, so take an action now. How can I help people to believe it's possible?
It's an ongoing process. The faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. That's what my favorite book says. That you have to be an unreasonable person who's not looking at and judging the circumstances such as you see them. But you're calling forth those things that be not as though they were. And if you read the book called Change or Die by David Dushman,
I will do.
He said there's a person who is an unreasonable person who brings a message that it's possible and repeat that message. And there are people who hear that message who are able to relate to it and identify with it. And then they begin to move from and develop a whole approach to life with that new level of enlightenment, that as he speaks or she speaks, it begin to give people a vision of themselves beyond their circumstances and their mental conditioning, and challenges them to begin to embrace some habits that cause them to make some new choices that will help them to carve out and become the architect of their future, as opposed to becoming volunteer victims.
Great. You do a lot of speeches all around the world, and you are not the only speaker. A lot of speakers. So, according to you,
I'm a trainer. I'm known as a speaker, but my gifting is I started out as a trainer, teaching people how to live their dreams, teaching them how to use their voice and their story and leverage their knowledge to go from being local to being global. That's what my gifting is in.
So as a trainer, why there are some speaker or trainer who give only a kind of information, at the end you say, oh, it's interesting, and other speakers like you, according to me, and you feel something and you're not thinking about, oh, it's interesting, but I can do that. I want to take an action. I want to change something in my life. I don't know if it was interesting, but I will change something in my life. What are the differences?
Well, there are many speakers think that people are stuck because of lack of information. I always say, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. They don't need us to come in and speak. They can go online, they can Google the information. So information alone cannot create transformation. That in order to change human behavior,
you have to create a significant emotional event. The materials that I provide, the training that I provide, is designed to impact a person's mind, their heart, and their spirit. And so the goal is to distract, dispute, and inspire, to interrupt their story. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So when I'm training speakers, I teach them how to become a strategic, experiential storyteller. Be strategic on how they use their story. You never make a point without a story, and you never tell a story without a point. And experiential, because Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it could never be satisfied to going back to where it was. And so when you take that approach to change how they think and what they feel, then you now have positioned yourself to begin to create a thirst. There's no saying you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You create a thirst where they want to drink, where they want to change. And now you have, because of their encounter with you, you have now allowed yourself to be an instrument, as Mother Teresa would say, in the hand of God. And now that person will begin to write a new chapter with their lives. So it's about how do we change the story that people believe about themselves that's been given to them by life, given to them by their circumstances. We learn between ages 0 and 5 what's available for us and what's not available for us. And based upon those experiences and the people around us in our environment, a word formulates in our mind. It's either yes or it's no. A word formulates in our heart. It's either yes or no. It formulates in our spirit, yes or no. And there's various things that can impact the formulation of that word and the conviction behind it and how we move our lives forward. My goal, if the word is no, is to interrupt that word and to change it to a very affirmative yes.
It's great. I love that. How to have a strong will? Because a lot of speakers are speaking about you have to have will, but how?
Will is, that's why I talk about the mind, the heart, and the spirit. The reason we celebrate Nelson Mandela is that for 26 years, they tried to control his mind. They were able to control his body. But most importantly, they couldn't break his spirit. And so that deep down resolve, that dimension that's available to all of us was explained to us in the book called Man's Search for Meaning, that Viktor Frankl, that there's a part of us that's always a part of us that's in our hands, that the irreducible essence of who you are, that either you say yes or no, not based upon the circumstances, not based upon the pressure that's applied, but based upon your conviction. Are you going to give this the power to take advantage of you? Are you going to turn yourself over to this? We always have that choice. That's the greatest choice that human beings have. Am I going to give myself a pass to surrender, or am I going to stand up? I remember telling a story when I produced my first PBS special in public television of a man who came by a house and there were people on the porch talking. And there was a dog moaning and groaning. The guy was curious, and he went back and he asked the owner, "Why is this dog moaning and groaning?" And the owner said, "Because he's lying on a nail." The guy said, "Well, why won't he just get off?" He said, "Because it's not hurting bad enough for him to get off. Just hurting bad enough for him to moan and groan." And so what most people do in life, they have the power to change their circumstances. You are made in the likeness and image of God. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. But most people rather moan and groan about their situation, show up in their lives as volunteer victims, rather than become actively engaged in doing the work necessary to change their circumstances. It's been said there are two types of people, those who work and those who watch them. So you got to be willing to do your internal work so that you have the mental resiliency, and your external work finds something that you want to master that will allow you to move yourself forward.
Wow. So we have to, the first step is to find what we want to master.
Why are you here? What's your reason for being? Why do you get up in the morning? Most people don't have a clue. Pay the bills, to keep a roof over your head. I think we have to reflect on, who am I? Why am I here? What drives me? If I died today, what 3 words would I want said about me if I died today? You know, what is it that defines me? You know, and how do I define myself? Most people allow their circumstances to define them, as opposed to defining themselves and how they're going to show up in life. And so my mission is to help people to connect with the power they have within, their greatness. When you're pursuing your greatness, you don't know what your limits are, so you act like you don't have any. And when you live from that place, you can now be able to make a greater contribution and make a greater impact with your life, because of the fact that you see yourself in a larger context. One of the principles, there are 9 principles that we teach of greatness.
Yeah.
The first one is, each of us can achieve far beyond our horizons and in avenues of life we have never explored. But most people settle in and accept things in life as it has been given to them, as opposed to rising above that, working to create something that they can feel good about.
It's the first person principle.
Yes.
What are the next?
The next one is, we must take responsibility for our actions and our reactions.
Yeah.
When you look at your circumstances, you know, George Bernard Shaw said, the people look for the things that they want in life, and if they can't find them, they create them. And so when we look at ourselves, it's about doing that. It's about taking ownership for your stuff, for your life. And one of the things I emphasize, that changing is not easy, that changing your life, changing habits, reinventing yourself, picking yourself up after life has knocked you flat on your back. I've got to say, when life knocked you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Well, that sounds cute, but that's not easy. When I was diagnosed with prostate cancer 17 years ago, that first time that happened, I said, hey, I can handle this. Then when it came back a year later, last year, 17 years later, and this time, it had metastasized to 7 areas of my body and ate 40% of my T1 vertebrae. Now the stakes are higher. It's this life saying, okay, Mr. Motivator, you beat cancer the first time. What you gonna do now? You know, I started laughing. When the doctor told me, he said, why are you laughing? Are you in denial? I says, no. I said, I feel like Mother Teresa. He said, what do you mean? She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you to have so much confidence in me. I said, the stakes are higher. So I've got to dig in and got to fight more, because at the end of the day, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. And so it's a fight, it's a challenge in life every day. And what we have to do is embrace it. What we have to do is see it as a project to be worked on. I read something once that I live by. It said, in life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. And so I see even cancer as a gift, as a God-ordained opportunity.
It is a kind of test for you to improve
It's a
yourself.
test, right? No test, no testimony. Yes.
Wow.
And so you have to be willing to step up and handle it. Anybody can have faith, David. If the bills are paid, if they have their health, the marriage is working out fine, the children acting like they have good sense, they have a lot of money in the bank, a lot
Everything
of
is perfect.
investment. Anybody can have faith under those circumstances. The true challenge of faith is when life knocks on the door. True challenge when you lose your health, or something happens to someone you care about, or you lose your wealth, or some tragedy happens to you. All of us over the next year will experience at least 3 tragedies. We will experience it personally, or someone we care about. Charles Udall said in life, he said, things may happen around you and things may happen to you, But the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. And that's where, that's our domain. That's where we have the control.
Yeah, we choose the answer.
Yes, we did too, and we choose how we're going to respond to this. Will I allow this to get the best of me? Will I allow this to stop me? Am I going to surrender to this? Will I give myself a pass? Will I wimp out on myself? That's always a choice.
I love that. In the speech just before you said a sentence that I love, can you repeat it about the fact that when it's hard?
If you do what is easy.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, giving yourself a pass, giving yourself permission to stop. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years because it was hard to make the radical change in my approach, my dress, my learning the language of corporate America, gaining access, developing myself an intellectual resource where corporations would reach over people with years of experience, PhDs and MBAs, and I have no experience and no credentials, and be able to compete with them. It was hard, but we can do hard. All of us have moments in our lives when things have been thrust upon us and we had to do hard. So if you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, your life will be easy. And so don't give yourself a pass. Don't run away from hard because you can do hard. And through that, you discover a part of yourself that you would not know otherwise.
Yeah, you are building your power when you have challenges and when it's hard.
Yes, those things only happen through growth experiences, through challenges. If you go to the gym to work out and you don't feel any discomfort the next day, here's what we know. You haven't done anything. And so you gotta challenge yourself. Yeah. And you're gonna get hurt. You know, Viktor Frankl calls it unavoidable suffering. Life is full of pain and disappointment. It's a part of the process.
And we are proud of ourselves when we overcome something.
When we overcome things, we discover things about ourselves. No tests, no testimony, no guts, no glory.
Yeah.
And I was doing a broadcast once and a guy was coming up and he had crutches. He was coming up to be interviewed by me and he missed a step and he fell. It was a very embarrassing moment. And I went down to help him get up and he said, "Don't feel sorry for me or being embarrassed." He said, "It goes with being a paraplegic. I fall all the time." And so we fall all the time in life. We make mistakes all the time in life.
Yeah.
You know, there's no life without mistakes. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly. It's worth doing right if you know how to do it. But if you don't know how to do it, it's worth doing badly until you get it right. All of us are going to fall on some tough times. 8 out of 10 millionaires have had to file bankruptcy. It's a part of the process. We go up, we go down. And we learn things during the tough times. That's where we really learn things. That's where we begin to discover things about ourselves. Adversity introduces you to yourself, that are part of yourself that you would never know otherwise when things are going real good for you. And so what we have to help people to understand is to maintain a spirit of optimism in spite of their circumstances, to give them hope. Why? Because when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. So my goal is training 100,000 voices of hope who will do 3 things. Help give people hope. That's number 1. Number 2, teach them methods that will help them to develop the desire to reinvent themselves so that they are not replaced by an app or outsourcing, because this is a time where you have to continuously reinvent yourself to stay ahead of technology and cheap labor around the world. That's number 2. Continuing to work on yourself and growing and developing. And the third thing is to build communities, collaborative, achievement-driven cultures, supportive cultures that'll help you to get to the next level. Have a group we call ourselves Cancer Conquerors. And so one goose can fly 75% further in formation with other geese than it could ever fly by itself. So if you got 100,000 voices giving people hope, that's number 1. Number 2, encouraging them to develop their capacity, their skill set. There's no shortage of opportunity. There's a shortage of capacity to take advantage of the opportunities that are available in the global economy.
Yeah.
and encouraging people to create communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, we can accomplish anything.
And how can the people and me can contribute to these dreams?
They can email me at yes@lesbrown.com, yes@lesbrown.com, and we'll be set up within a few weeks and send them out some information. But also in the meantime, what we will do is send them a video that as they watch this, they'll see the message that I'm bringing and a format. We're going to be teaching them the 7 principles of storytelling so that they can learn how to influence and impact and change lives, one-on-one, small groups, or in large groups.
Yeah. So with 100,000 voices, you can make a big difference in this world.
Absolutely, yes. That's the goal. And we want 100,000 voices outside of politics and outside of religion, both of which polarize and divide people. Just everyday people. I'm not an educated guy. If both my parents came in here right now, I would not know either one of them. I'm adopted. I don't have any credentials. I'm just an average person, and I have a desire to make a difference with my life, to live a life of significance, and to live a meaningful life, and to help others who have a desire to do the same thing.
Yeah. So it's perfect for my next question. What is your favorite commitment to yourself?
My favorite commitment to myself is to always challenge myself to grow. That you're never too young to learn, you're never too young to teach, and you're never too old to learn. I'm learning from young people like yourself because you are my future, a future that I will perhaps never see. And so by being open, I remember when I graduated from high school, we had a theme that said, you never find out how much you know until you find out how little you know. The moment you think you know, you've lost it. You've lost it. You don't know. Life is something to be experienced. You get a glimpse. You peak to peak, as Robert Schuller would say. You PEAK, so you can PEEK. You peak to peak and know there's more there.
Great.
Yeah, Socrates says a man's reach is to supersede his grasp, or what are the heavens for?